And we're live. Mr. Philip Shouse, how you doing, buddy?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Just getting it. I get more excited as the days come for next weekend, and it's so crazy to say that it's now next weekend because I've been thinking about this forever. So
I'm going down Monday, so I'm going to have some days in Florida by the pool and sun.
Super jealous.
Yeah, before the weekend festivities begin. So
Festivus.
For all of us.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. The way these episodes usually start, you've been on here before, it always starts with me staring at my phone for a few seconds so I can get this shared to all the pages. So if you could do some juggling or, something like that while I'm...
So what we're talking about, this show we're talking about here is December 18th and 19th. We're going to be in Sarasota, Florida. But if you can't be there, join us. I think tickets have got to be sold out by this point. So we're very limited tickets available for obvious reasons. But you can still live stream from meethook.live. Go to there, or Kismas 2020, Kismas2020.com has all the information on getting a live stream ticket. The live stream ticket's like $12 for the whole weekend.
It's great.
We got so many awesome things that we're going to probably cover in this episode.
That's
what we're talking about. Next weekend is going to be a great time for everybody. So,
and talking about the live streaming thing, Neil said it before. It's not going to be some guy standing there with his iPhone. There is a full production company that MTV actually hires for one of their shows that's going to be there handling all of this.
Meathook has been doing productions for a long time. I mean, they've been really busy during this, and they're great. And it's going to be a top-notch production. And so, yeah, you're not going to get like, a dude in his bedroom like this. But yeah, it's going to be great. So yeah,
it's actually going to be Jeremy Asbrock standing there with his phone filming it
outside, outside with all of his clothes on.
That
and
is
all
great.
His hats.
You hear that, Jeremy? I hope Jeremy's watching this right now. That's fucking great.
It's going to be great. I've been planning this with Neil Davis, who's the promoter and main organizer of the whole thing, along with Brian Bell. And the planning stages for this, and I do want to talk about this, the safety aspect for the people that are going to be there is, I haven't seen the likes of this in any show that I've done this year. And obvious reasons because of we were planning this before it ramped back up again, like now. But the precautions, the way we had them, are still going to be extremely, extremely thorough, if you will. Everybody involved in the show, artists, talent, put talent in quotes, the crew, the live stream crew, we're all being tested on site.
What? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Just short circuiting real quick.
So we're all getting tested. We're all getting tested on site, and the attendees are going to get the temperature, the scan gun things when they come in, and it's only, I think it's limited to 150 tickets in person. It's a big place too. It's a big venue.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think about that because they're doing 15% capacity, but there's still, when you think about, well, if it's 150 people, it's like, damn, How many people do they fit in there on a normal basis?
Yeah, it's a big place. And if anybody has any questions about this, if anybody's wanting to go, or if people are watching this going, what the hell are those guys doing? Go to Kismas2020.com. There's a safety section on the website. There's a menu item called safety. Go there. It has everything laid out for you. And it even has a diagram of the seating chart for the actual events that are happening, because there's going to be panels, and I'm doing a talk show thing we'll talk about. But for all of the performances, there are like these pods, and you got to stay in them, and it's the masquerade. So, it's a mass.
It's actually going to be all the eggs from This Is Spinal Tap when they did Big Bottom. You will get your own egg to watch the show in.
It's provided, and it never opens.
Yeah, until the end of the show.
Right. And but no, really, they've really done a great job with everything. And I actually turned down the first draft of this that I was handed. You can ask Neil. He had it laid out, and I looked, I was like, man, this is just like a regular thing. So we had to go back and Neil and Brian did an outstanding job. We can't wait to see. We're not going to be around as much for obvious reasons. Me and Ron, Jeremy, and I are going to do our events, and we're going to probably, get out of the public eye just for, not personal, maybe for a couple of you. No, it's just, we can't wait till we can say hey to everybody and hug everybody and take pictures like we always do. But, we got to make a couple sacrifices to put the show on. The main important thing.
Of course, if that's the most inconvenient thing that it takes for us to be able to have shows in some capacity, it's like, it's not the end of the world. It's
Exactly.
worth it. I would rather go to a show with the limitations like this. And I say limitations lightly because it's still going to be a fantastic event. But for right now, this is the best that we can do. And I still think everybody is going to have a fantastic time because they've, like you said, you guys have put a lot of work into this. So, and making everybody comfortable is a big thing because, there's been places that have had shows, and even if you take the proper precautions, still a lot of people aren't comfortable going to shows right now, and rightfully so. There's a lot of shit going on. So, it's nice to see that they're putting all this work in, because we've all been on the opposite side of the spectrum where we've seen some of these places that, are kind of a little looser with the restrictions than they probably should be. So it's nice to see that they're taking this into account and wanting to make everybody that's coming there feel comfortable.
Yeah, I chatted with Neil today about it again, and really they've doubled and tripled down and gone above and beyond. And I mean, it is Florida, so Florida's been kind of the Wild West during this whole thing.
I know, man. I just was watching the Dolphins game on Sunday, and the stadium's at like 40% capacity. They're like, we have like 30,000 in attendance today, and I'm like, holy shit, man.
So the precautions being taken aren't just strict for Florida; they're strict for anywhere. I mean, they're really, really, really being strict about it, and rightly so. I want everybody to have a good time and everybody to come here. This is kind of this is a chance for us to really show how a successful, safe show will be run if we have to do these into next year. Vaccines kind of going around now, so we don't know how long that will take to really take effect. But my goal is to have this thing go off without a hitch and be safe and successful. And everybody's like, "Wow, you did it!" And everybody goes home and has a great Christmas and is healthy. So that's the goal.
Absolutely. And, I've told Neil and I've told Jeremy and I've told everybody, this is one of the most excited I've been to play a show, because not only is this the first KISS Expo I've ever been to, I'm getting to play at it. So it's like just a cherry on top, man. And I actually think that Neil's live right now with Mr. Kurt Frolic, whose band I'm playing in that night, and
cool.
Chip Zenough from Enough's Enough. They're doing their own live vid right now.
That's right, they are. Yeah, Chip's on. That's right. That's gonna be great.
They started right as we did. I got the notification on my phone right as we went live, and I was just like, damn, we're missing that. So I'm going to have to catch the replay for that after we get off of here.
We are taking over the airways. We are blasting about this thing. It's going to be awesome. Chip and the guys are coming down. Jean Beauvoir is going to be there. I love Jean. We've played with Jean a few times at, some other expos, and he is the greatest. So that's going to be awesome. And Rick Derringer is going to be
man, I am so excited about that. Getting to see.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I think he's
getting to see him play that.
I think he's doing a thing with Eddie too.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I think
cool.
so. I think he's doing like a talking thing, because I want to hear. I want to hear how the Exciter thing happened, but I want to hear Johnny Winter stories and Edgar Winter stories.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's some stuff I'm interested about as well.
I can't wait. That's going to be super exciting. He's been great. I've been on the phone with him planning stuff, and he's been awesome. And your singer for the Minefield Project is going to be there via live stream.
Yes, I think that might be what I'm most excited about for the entire weekend. even more than playing. Like, I want to see Bruce and Todd play because those guys just kick major ass when they play together, man. I've said it before on here, but I've never been on the Kiss cruises before. So when I'm waiting for footage from the cruises to be uploaded after it's over, the first thing in recent years that I'm always waiting for first is the footage of Bruce's band. That is just, it's fucking killer every time, man. Those guys
so
never
great.
disappoint. And Todd's
So
just,
good.
his voice is just fucking fantastic. And I know I'm biased because I'm in a band with him right now, but
I was talking to somebody about this earlier this evening about how incredible Todd Kern's voice is.
Yeah, this episode is we are now just going to have a Todd Kearns appreciation episode.
Yes.
For the next 4 hours.
Oh, damn it.
Absolutely.
No, he's great. So yeah, Bruce and Todd are going to be actually streaming from Bruce's place in Vegas, I think. Acoustic shows. And they put a little teaser out yesterday with a tune or two, which was very cool.
Yeah, they were doing Rock Bottom.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I had Todd on here last week, and I asked him, I was like, you don't have to drop any song names, but I was like, can we expect some stuff that you and Bruce have never played together before? And he was like, absolutely. So
cool.
I'm even more excited about it now, man. I wish we could have them there in person, but this is just as cool, man. They're playing next to the fireplace in Bruce's living room, so
that'd be nice too. I wouldn't mind doing that as well.
Yeah, when can we all go play a show next to Bruce's fireplace?
Yeah.
Well, cool, man.
Great.
We'll touch a little bit more on the Christmas stuff later on in the episode. I've only got about 90 or 100 questions prepared for you before we dive in.
Okay.
So we'll kind of start it right at the beginning of your musical journey. When did you first start playing guitar?
Guitar at 12, but I played saxophone from age 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And drums, I guess, just playing on my older brother's drum set, probably at 3.
Oh, wow. Nice.
3 or 4. I couldn't reach the pedals or anything, so he'd put me up on the drum throne, and I would play along to records. I'd put headphones on, and I'd play along to, Toys in the Attic and Rocks and Draw the Line were big.
Great.
Were big for me at that time.
I love Draw the Line, man. I think that's such an underrated Aerosmith record. And do you know the secrets in the album cover?
Oh, the Nina?
Yeah.
The artist's daughter? He put that in every drawing he did.
Yeah. The first time I bought that on vinyl was at the world's largest flea market in Daytona Beach, Florida, when I went to high school down there. And the guy that sold it to me pointed it out to me, and I was like, this makes this record even cooler now.
Yeah, that was Hirschbacher.
I'm not sure who the name is, but I love that cover.
Yeah, I did. And I think that's why I gravitated to it as a kid, because it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, that's neat. And then I think toys, maybe, because they had toys on the cover, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just the fact that they were in my brother's record collection. They were the first group I got to. And I was like, oh, cartoon, toys, okay.
Yeah, man, and Draw the Line, it has some of their best shit on it, man. Like Kings and Queens is fucking fantastic.
Sight for Sore Eyes.
Milk Cow Blues. And the Joe Perry lead vocal, Bright Like Fright.
Bright Like Fright.
Yeah.
Don't really know what that song's about.
It's a fun little tune.
Yeah.
Joe Perry probably doesn't even know what that song's about.
I kind of learned what that's about later on. but a great record. So that was my first thing, was probably my brother's record collection. And of course, Aerosmith. And then I got into, I remember I was a big B-52s fan.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like the first 2 records, Wild Planet and the Yellow album. Those had just come out like when I was 4 and 5. Those had just kind of been released, 79 and 80. And I thought those were just the greatest. And then I got into the Police. Those are all his records that he had. Zenyatta Mondatta was one that I wore out. And then, the Blues Brothers soundtrack was a huge one too.
Nice.
That came out when I was 5. And then somehow, I don't know how my parents took me to see that movie. because I couldn't even see the Goonies. So, but somehow we went to a drive-in in either Madison, Wisconsin or Norfolk, Nebraska to see the Blues Brothers.
Nice.
I have no idea how they took me. We
Yeah.
went, and I still don't remember any like horrible thing that a 5-year-old couldn't see or hear. All I remembered was the saxophone player, was Blue Lou Marini, and I thought he was the coolest guy ever. So I picked saxophone when it came time to join the school band and be in the school band, because I was going to play something, and I couldn't play drums because I didn't have 2 years of piano, and they required that in Nebraska because of xylophone bells. I'm like, well, I can already play Wipeout. I don't need to. Why do I have to play xylophone? I play Wipeout. I can beat all these kids in line. You know?
That's great.
So I couldn't do it. So I played saxophone because of Blue Lou Marini from the Blues Brothers.
So I'm guessing you can read music pretty well then.
Yeah, really well. I mean, in college, like I was just, but I'm really, I know what it is, but for guitar, I never use it. I do sometimes, but I use tablature and stuff, but no, I can still read, but I was a whiz at it, like in high school, because I was in honor bands and stuff playing saxophone. And I was like in these bands that you would go, and it was called reading band, and they would place a piece of music in front of you, and you'd never seen it before, and all the band directors from the state would come to listen to you play this orchestra play, to pick out which songs or what pieces they wanted to pick for their own schools. So you'd get a sheet of paper in front of you, and you'd never seen it before, and you'd read through it, and then you do the next one.
Wow,
nice.
I
was good. I was really good.
That's great.
Like everything, it's like it's like a muscle. It's like the more you do that stuff, the better you get, and the quicker it is, and the easier it is. So yeah, I was good at it for a while.
Of course, it was kind of the opposite for me. So when I was in high school in Florida, I played guitar in the high school jazz band. But with me, I couldn't fucking read a lick of music. So for every song we did, the instructor would have to write the chords above the staff for me. Yeah. And luckily I could still count well, so I could, make the transitions. But yeah.
G, dominant 7, add 9.
Dude, yeah. I learned so many fucking weird chords in jazz band that I would have never stumbled across like on my own. And it's actually sitting behind the Accept record back there. I got a guitar chord encyclopedia just because in that and doing the jazz band stuff, I was like, I don't know what all of these fucking chords are, these weird fucking numbers after them.
you got to get notes, open book quiz.
But luckily, it's great stuff to know, and you'll always it makes you a better musician being able to do that shit.
Man, I think about my exposure to all this different type of music because I was in everything. I was in concert band, jazz band, marching band, pep band, any honor band that was available. I played baritone sax. So there wasn't many of us. So I was always like first year.
That's great.
in the honor band. So I went to all these honor bands and traveled around a lot. I was kind of section leader and everything. I was quite good actually. But I think about that now and being exposed to all this different stuff. I'm not going to listen to whole Planet Suite on my own. I'm not going to listen to any of this stuff. And so what an education that was for so many years from 10 years old up until I played into college.
That's great.
I got what a great education that I never would have been exposed to otherwise. Not even in a million years.
Of course. And, somebody like yourself, you have such a diverse selection of, artists that you're involved with. And when you start tracing it back to stuff like that, you can start kind of connecting the dots of okay, there's all these different backgrounds. And kind of segueing off of that, you played with Rodney Atkins for a while. So, you have the rock stuff and you played in all those bands, and then you got the country stuff. So a very wide selection of everything that you can do. Talk to me a little bit about how the country stuff came about and playing with Rodney and Bo Bice and all those guys.
Yeah, the country thing happened. I moved to Nashville in 2004 and quickly learned that maybe being a band isn't the way to do this for me. And so, but I was always very open-minded and played with a lot of different people always. I wasn't really like, this is my band, man. We're going to be U2 and whatever. No, I never was really like that. I was always kind of like, I enjoyed doing other stuff. And I was a quick learner. So it made sense. And so my first audition was with David Lee Murphy.
Nice.
He had some hits, and he's had a million hits as a songwriter. Good God, that guy's got so many number ones. Now. But back in 2005, he was still performing. He performs a little bit now. He was performing a little bit then, but kind of coming off the road and writing more. But he was my first gig like that, and you couldn't have asked for a better guy. I mean, he was just the greatest. He's cool. He's got this Elvis thing about him, and he's just real cool and laid back, and he's great. And he treated me great. I mean, I learned so much. They were so patient. All the band, Russell and Tommy Mack and Jimmy, and all the guys were so great to me. And his manager, Doug, were awesome. So I did that for a year. Then I went with a rock group out of New York for a little bit, Morningwood. And then I came back into country, did the Bo Bice record, played with Chris Cagle for 2 or 3 years, and then got Rodney in 2010, played with him for 6 years.
That's awesome.
I mean, it was great because for me, they hired me because I look like this and I sound like I sound. It was like, no, keep your Les Paul at your knees, play through a Marshall, and do, because I can do Southern rock. That's like one of my main wheelhouses or whatever.
Of course.
And that's what it was. I mean, I still can't. I have like one country thing I can do. Everything else is just like, okay, well, they wanted more like a Skinnerd, Southern rock gunslinger type guy. So they liked, and that was right when I moved to town. So I kind of like lucked out timing wise too, that I could get work, and they like, no, wear what you're wearing. It looks great.
That's awesome.
Wasn't like here's a Telecaster and have it up here. I couldn't do that anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. I mean, I did that for like 10 years, got a paycheck, learned an absolute ton, played a ton of gigs, and learned something on everything, and saw the country and had a great time. Made some friends that I'm still like dear close with today. So yeah.
Yeah, and dude, some of those country guitarists, man, are some of the best guitarists in the world. Those chicken picking or whatever you want to call it, some of those runs, man, are some of the hardest shit to play.
That's why I never tried it.
Yeah. Man, and so, Dave Mustaine had I think it was him that said it, he had a pretty funny quote about, all the Nashville guitarists, the country guys. He's like, a lot of those guys are metal guys that couldn't score a good gig with a band, and so they started playing country. So it's always funny to hear stories about guys like yourself doing that, and it kind of puts that into action a little bit.
Yeah, it's like guys around my age and Dave's age that are guitar players, chances are they're Van Halen guys.
Yeah.
And they're that kind of a thing, Metallica fans, whatever, or that kind of thing. So you've got those guys doing that, but it's a whole other animal. It's a whole other school of like direction of practice that I never did. So instead of going after that stuff, and I was encouraged by my gigs not to go that way, do your own thing. I kind of just made my own thing work in a country situation. I kind of took because those guys can do things that I can't do, and I can do things that those guys can't do.
Absolutely.
I can probably play a power chord better than those guys can. But it's a big thing. It's all in your touch, and all it's on your approach and how you attack and how you think about the instrument. So I went after my thing and made it work in different situations. And I know I'm aware enough to know okay, well, I'm not going to really do that here. But it's still me. I wasn't really changing anything.
Of course.
That much. But you just kind of adapt,
Of course. And, I think having all those situations and everything is what kind of helps somebody like you become such a well-rounded musician. And, because
I wouldn't be here without it, man. I really, everything, the playing saxophone and taking every gig I was ever offered. is that I could do. It's
So, which one? I'm assuming it would probably be David. Then you got to play the Grand Ole Opry, I think, back when around when like Porter Wagner and all those guys were still around and playing.
Yep.
So, talk to me a little bit about that experience, man. That had to be a trip.
I play the Opry straight. I play the Opry a lot now because with all my gigs. My first time there was with David Lee Murphy, and I brought my parents, and they're older because I have my brother's 13 years older than me.
Oh, okay.
So
wow.
They're a bit older, and they're from the South, so they grew up listening to this on the radio.
Yeah.
And so it was a big deal for me to be able to bring them, and because it sounds, wow, Philip's gonna be a guitar player. Oh great. Wow, okay, awesome. This is gonna work out awesome. So anyway, bringing them was a big deal, and Porter Wagner, Little Jimmy Dickens, Eddie Raven, all those guys are there. And when you're at the
awesome.
Opry backstage, everybody's just kind of walking around. I mean, nobody is like hiding, and they're all just kind of there. So for mom and dad to be there, like around those people, it was a big deal for me to do. And I think it's kind of when they may have went, maybe he's figured this out.
That's great.
But then, yeah, Porter Wagner, all those dudes were there. And so I played it several times with David Lee Murphy. And then we played it a ton with Rodney, both at the Ryman and the current, the new, not the new place, but the current place.
That's awesome, man. Just, just hearing about that just is a trip. So I can't even imagine, being inserted into a situation like that.
It was great just being there. I remember this one time we did it at the Opry with Rodney, and I was leaving before the show was finished. And you only play 2 or 3 songs. It's a plug and pray.
Yeah.
You walk up and you're like, I don't know if this is going to work or sound good, but here we go. And it's still a radio show, so they got to keep it timing. And they do commercials when you're getting ready, so you're on. So we did our 3 songs. Got my guitar, and I was walking behind the curtain at the Ryman trying to leave. I was walking. I had my guitar on my back, probably hair in my face too. Really not wanting to trip over any cables because I'm in cable territory. And so I'm walking, my head's still down, and I see a pair of white boots and then a pair of cowboy boots. Now the white boots means one thing: Whispering Bill Anderson. So I look up, and it's Bill Anderson and Charlie fucking Pride.
Oh, man.
Like right there. And I kind of like, they're looking at me like, probably like, what are you doing here? And I looked up, and I couldn't say anything. I just kind of like stood to the side. But, you'd kind of bump into people like that a lot there. And it was always, everybody was really nice and not pretentious and very cool.
That's awesome, man. That's great hearing about stuff like that. So thank you for sharing that. So you also got to do some USO shows, I think, with Rodney, if I'm correct. Talk to me a little bit about that and what that experience was like.
That was great. We went over to we did Kuwait and Afghanistan with Rodney Atkins.
Oh wow, nice.
In 2012? No. Sorry, 14 or 15, maybe. And we went over, I think we were about a week. And so we did
oh wow,
a really big show we did a big show in Kuwait, and then went to Afghanistan. And then so we had one big show in Afghanistan at Bagram Air Base, which is kind of the main air base. And we also got to go to a FOB, a forward operating base, and play acoustic and shoot all kinds of weapons that I'll never get to hold in my hand again. And it was awesome.
That is fucking killer.
When you go do those shows, I mean, you have everybody over there come up and thanking you, and you're just like, thank me. It's like, nobody's ever shot at me at my job. Thank you. And the love that we had, that everybody showed us over there, and the gratitude was just incredible. Everybody was so cool and so happy to meet you, and we're so happy to meet them. And I still have every challenge coin and patch and cap anybody gave me over there. It was really meant a lot. and to me and all the guys, and we just had a really, really good time.
That's fantastic.
And it's just, it's you don't get to go to that part of the world. It isn't like a tour stop.
Yeah. You never see like Aerosmith or GNR release their dates, and it's like, oh, Afghanistan, Baghdad.
Yeah, Kabul. Right,
yeah.
Kabul.
It's like, no, that's nothing against the citizens or anything over there. It's just like, that's just not a place that normally comes up on
just how
anywhere.
It is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was really cool, man. That was, I'd done another Armed Forces Entertainment tour also before. And on the USO tour, the tour manager was this older British guy. And I found out that he tour managed the Yardbirds back in the 60s.
Oh, man.
I wore that poor guy out.
Yeah, he would have hated the trip if I would have been with him. Like
he was actually the guy. He was the guy they had in America when they had Beck and Page.
Oh, man.
It was only a few shows before Beck said, I'm off, but yeah, it was him. And I was like, I'm really sorry, but you're going to hate me with this tour. But he was cool. I think his name was Brian. He had
That's fucking awesome. Now I got to find that guy's contact info and get him on here.
It was a lot of fun. He lived in South America. He had this South American wife, and they had a vineyard. Like, the guy had like this amazing life.
I was about to say,
really cool
I'm so jealous of this dude's life, and I just found out about him like 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, he was kind of my hero.
Yeah, that is, oh man, that is, that's absolutely crazy. Well, a round of applause for that guy right there. Jesus,
He's got to figure it out.
Yeah, oh man, that is awesome. I want to hear more stories about people like that. Yeah. Cool. So we'll kind of get off the country stuff for a second. Me and Jeremy talked about this last night. I want to hear it from your perspective, though. So the first time you met Jeremy was at the Shazam show, which was the same time it was years later, but I also met Jeremy for the first time watching the Shazam play. So tell me a little bit about the first time you met Jeremy.
So I forget the year. What year was it?
I think he said 2000 was when it was.
It's 2000. It's 2000 or 2001. One of the two. I'm not sure which one. But yeah, so I was living in. Excuse me, I'm burping up this delicious athletic.
Dude, you are so rude. I'm ending the episode right now.
Non-alcoholic pumpkin porter I'm having. It's great. Yeah, so I was living in North Alabama at the time in Decatur. And I got, I think it was a Q or a Mojo magazine, and they had a ton of record reviews in the back, one of the good British music magazines. And they had this record review of a group called the Shazam. They're from Nashville. And it kept on like, wow, Kinks, Who, the Beatles, wow, I like all of those bands.
Yeah.
I got it. And they just been to England. They played at Earl's Court with Paul Weller. And I was like,
yeah.
Who the fuck are these guys?
Yeah.
So I don't even know if I got a record because you couldn't. There was no YouTube. I couldn't look anything up, and there wasn't really any like streaming service. Napster may have been there.
Yeah, but that wasn't a cool thing back when.
Napster or LimeWire. Remember LimeWire?
See, I was growing up in like the middle 2000s, so LimeWire was my thing. I'd ruined the family computer many times with the good old LimeWire.
It was one of those. It was that, so you couldn't really hear anything, but I knew I'd like it, so I went to see him play at the Exit Inn in Nashville, and so I of course got the CD and stuff there. And I wore my Kiss Love Gun jersey. Now, this is 2000, 2001. You couldn't get that stuff at Forever 21.
Yeah.
You had to order from kissonline.com and sort and seek it out. And it was a cool gray, black sleeves, So I'm standing in the front row most of the time, and he's playing. I'm like, he looks blonde hair, like a velvet jacket, or look great. And the band's awesome too. I'm like, these guys are really good, like the review said. And then, so when they were done, he comes up and talks to me. And I'm sure I'd had many Jägermeisters at this point, but I was liking those back then. And he comes up and talks to me. He's like, "Where did you get that Kiss shirt?" I'm like, "Oh, we did this." So we start talking, and so that's how we became friends.
That's great.
With that, and so yeah, that's pretty much that's the story. And then we kept in touch. I'm sure I got his number, and I think I may have come to see him again and stayed at his place, and we just kept in touch.
Yeah, the Shazam was a great band, man. I loved all that shit that they put out. It was fantastic music, and luckily I got to meet Jeremy the same way at a Shazam show in Oak Ridge when I was living there when I was about 13. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say where it was. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I went to 4th through half of 8th grade in Oak Ridge. So it was in the paper, kind of a similar situation. An ad in the paper that they were playing at the band shell at the local civic center. And my friend's mom suggested me and him go down there because me and him were big guitar nerds at the time, always jammed with each other. And we ended up going down there, and Jeremy just was super fucking cool to me from the second he met me. And you got to think, I was only 13 at the time. So it's not like we're hanging out drinking beer or something like that. I was a kid, and Jeremy just treated me so fucking great. And then we kept in contact forever, basically, after that. So, besides great music, the Shazam is good at connecting people.
It is, yeah, totally. And that's why I read about him, and it sounded like I'd be into it, and I really was. So
so kind of segueing off that a little bit, you and Jeremy have the Rock N Roll Residency together, which is, dude, the new record y'all put out is fucking awesome. I jam it all the time. And
thanks, man.
It's the tunes on there, just, they're exactly what I want to hear out of a classic rock formatted band.
The songs we wrote kind of, are in the vein of what we played at the show, the cover show that we did forever. So it's kind of, in line with all that stuff. If you like the covers that we play, there's a pretty good chance you might like the originals that we write. So.
Absolutely. And I love that you guys on the live stream you did over the summer that you threw in the real thing. That was fantastic. I was glad that you sprinkled that in there.
One that we could play.
Yeah.
I started listening to the other ones, and I think we did the instrumental too. I think he's playing.
Oh, yeah. You guys did that one as well. Yeah.
But the other ones we started listening to, and we're like, can we do this with no rehearsal? We're like, no rehearsal. So that one, which we'd done before, then the real thing, it's D-A-E. Yeah. I wrote it so I can make fun of how easy it is, but it's a cool riff. But yeah, it was the only one that we could do with no practice.
Yeah, that's great, though. The record is fantastic, and for anybody that doesn't know, it's out on EMP label group, Dave Ellison's record label. I think it came out July 3rd on Bandcamp, and then August 3rd everywhere else, so kudos to you guys for making that record. So I asked Jeremy this last night, and there's a couple of these repeat questions because I want to get your perspective on some of the stuff. So you guys have a lot of awesome guests that show up and play with you guys. And talk to me about what are some of your personal highlights of the guests that you've had at your residency shows?
Roger Glover and Don Airey from Deep Purple are at the top. I mean, it's hard to pick a top, but they're the ones that stick out first for me. Having those guys come back twice in a row, like 2 weeks in a row. We become friends with those guys when they came and recorded. I think Now What was the first record that they did. Deep Purple did in Nashville, and they recorded the next 2 records there. That one and 2 more. And then, so when they did their last one, the one before last, they did. We had the show going, and Roger and Don came and played 2 weeks in a row, and we did.
That's great.
And Don Airey's musical resume is enough to make it. So with Don, we also did Suicide Solution and Mr. Crowley, because Don was in Wizard of Oz.
That's fucking great.
Don is playing Mr. Crowley on the Wizard of Oz record.
That's awesome.
So having him do that, it was like, whoa, and he really hadn't played any of that stuff since since Randy had passed. You know?
Yeah, that's fantastic. And you guys always talk. You're not shy about the fact that you guys are still fans when you're on stage. So,
I mean, if you look,
yeah,
we're shell shocked, man, because we had, you know, those guys were great. Robin Zander came 2 weeks in a row and sang too. He just showed up.
yeah.
One night, like, you know, we had people that knew him, and we're kind of almost done or on a break, and my buddy pats me on the shoulder, Greg Mangus, and goes, Robin Zander's here. And like, what? So he sang. Gene came. Gene came and did one at Mercy Lounge, and you know, the night Alice Cooper came, and then plus the folks that we know, like Rachel and you know, the Skid Row guys, all the Accept guys that came, you know, Kip Winger, Mark Slaughter. And what was cool about it was because, you know, with Kip Winger, we did Grand Funk Railroad.
That's great.
You know, because he loves Grand Funk's like his favorite band. So we did foot stomping music with Kip.
Oh man, that's awesome.
We did Helter Skelter with Kip too. And then with, you know, all these guys, we do some different songs. Like with Robin Zander, I remember when I asked him, I said, do you want to sing? He's like, sure. I go, we know so many obscure Cheap Trick songs. He's like, I don't want to do any of that shit. I said, what do you want to do? He goes, AC/DC. I go, we know everything, literally. What do you want to do? So we did A Long Way to the Top, and then we also got like Hot Love, and He's a Whore. I love him too. So we did
That's great. And, you know, I think that's one of the cool things about the residency is when you guys have these guys come, you kind of get to see the fan side of these guys as well, because like you said, you're not always just doing shit from their catalog. You had Robin Zander sing It's a Long Way to the Top, and, you know, just all these other songs from all these artists that come out. So it's cool that it kind of keeps in theme, even when these guys get up there, that you're getting to see a musical fan side of them that you don't normally get exposed to.
Yeah, that's what I love doing, because we started out, and then later we had people that we played their songs with them. But, you know, we had so many great, Lizzie and Joe from Hailstorm.
I was going to say Lizzie Hell did fucking Heaven and Hell with you guys. That's great.
That, and just so many cool moments. And the music, of course, is so cool, and all the people that we got to play with, and it was awesome. Well, the thing that stands out the most for me still is the community that formed around that. I'm not saying we created it at all. We just gave everybody a place to go.
Yeah.
We provided the clubhouse. You know, the people were already there. We didn't make a rock scene in Nashville. It was already there. It was getting bigger because of all the people that were moving here from different places. And just, you know, time goes on, and music, country's always going to reign supreme here. But
of course,
you know, you've got, you know, the passage of time, and influences are going to start, you know, melding together. So you've got all these different people here now, and rock fans are rock fans, and we played really good rock and roll songs really well, and did it for free at an early time, you know, and people, everything worked out well, and the crowd and the community and the friendships that were formed there, and the relationships that were formed, and the bands that formed there that's the most important part, and my favorite memory of the whole thing.
That's awesome. You know, I love getting to hear stories about all those guys coming out and jamming. And I remember when the Robin Zander thing happened, because Jeremy shared it like the next day on his Facebook, and I was still in high school at the time, I think. And I was like watching that video like, holy shit, this is nuts, getting to see Robin Zander sing AC/DC and shit like that. So awesome. I can only imagine how that felt being on stage while all that shit was going down.
It's so cool, like with a guy like Robin, and with you know, Derek St. Holmes also, who's a friend, and he came out and played a ton with us. Great player and singer, man. And you know, those two guys still sound like 1979.
Derek St. Holmes still has a fantastic voice, man. Yeah.
But when you're up there and you hear those voices, like either of those guys' voice come through a monitor wedge, it's just like, holy, that's Robin Zander, that's really Derek St. Holmes. It's a different thing when you're hearing it come out of that versus a big PA. And it's awesome going to see him play, but you know, that's just
that's them coming out of that monitor.
It's such a weird degree. Funny story about Derek St. Holmes. You know, because we tuned a half step down at the thing. Derek doesn't. Derek's standard tune, so he's still singing everything in the original key. So
that is wild.
Derek comes up to me at we're like on stage. He's coming up to plug in, puts his arm around me, and he goes, "Are you guys still tuned down a half step like a bunch of pussies?"
That is fucking great, man. Holy shit. Dude, it's crazy to hear stuff like that, especially with guys like Derek Sage still singing in standard. Because I mean, fuck, I'm in my mid-20s and I'd half step at least when I'm doing those gigs.
Mark Tornillo from Accept, standard tune. We are A440.
Dude, that is fucking wild.
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't know that. That is great.
Yeah.
So let's kind of segue off that a little bit. You mentioned the Accept guys coming out to the residency shows. Mm-hmm. Is that kind of how you made the connection of kind of making your way into the band?
Yeah, that's how Christopher got the gig. Sort of was they're looking for a new drummer, and it got word like, who's the best metal drummer? And it was kind of like that guy. Christopher's the best metal drummer in town, you know, totally. And I've known Christopher now for over 10 years. I'm trying to think how long it's been. We've done countless things together. So it was like, that dude.
That's great.
And and his kind of first, I guess, gig with Accept was at the residency because Mark came down from Jersey and we did some songs with Mark too. We did Whipping Post with Mark, and we did some AC/DC with him too. He slays AC/DC. I mean, the guy's voice.
Well, of course, yeah.
But Whipping Post is great. He killed Whipping Post too. It was amazing. And so the other guys in Accept came, and so with Christopher, and they played Fast as a Shark, and I think they played Balls of the Wall, and then I think we all played Restless and Wild together.
That's fantastic.
That was like, I guess, my first gig with Accept too was back then.
That's
we
awesome.
were a guitar band then. But yeah, so that's how that whole thing kind of like happened at the residency at the Dan McGinnis pub at the first place we played.
That's fantastic, man. And you guys are working on a new record right now. Is the record done or
done? Mastered, packaged, available for sale for pre-order now at nuclearblast.com.
Oh, great. Now I've got to go pre-order it now.
January 15th, I think.
And the first single is fucking great. Too Mean to Die. For anybody listening, go to Spotify, YouTube. Go to Apple and fucking buy it. That's what you should do. Yeah.
Go buy it. And for all you vinyl heads out there, I think they've released like 10 different colors, 10 different variations. So some of them are already, I'm looking at you, Brandon. They're already sold out of some, and I'm probably going to order a couple. I think I get one, but I want to make sure I get one.
That's great.
Yeah, it's for sale. Actually, they're cassette tapes too for sale. I'm about to get a tape, get a little Walkman, and walk around.
I feel like time is going backwards, man. You know.
Yeah. I haven't listened to a tape. I can't remember when I had a tape deck last.
Dude, if I tried to put any of the cassettes I have into a player, they'd probably just turn to dust instantly. Yeah. I don't trust it. Yeah. That's fantastic, though. Cassettes were actually like my first introduction to like a medium for listening to music. So, because late 90s, the cassettes were huge. So.
Oh yeah, you'd have and in my car, I'd have one of those big double-sided cassette cases, you know, full of home tape stuff, you know. And, tape from the CD, have it for the car, you know, it was great.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome, man. So talk to me about how you approach this Accept gig and how it might be a little different from all the other crazy shit you do, man, because like I said, you do the country gig, you do the rock gig, and you've got a metal gig. There's got to be, you know, a happy medium for you in all of this.
Yeah. Good question. It all sounds like me, obviously. And this has definitely made me practice and try to get faster and try to get a bit more metal, you know, because I can be kind of, I don't know, I can be kind of hippie Southern rock almond guy sometimes, or Beatles thing. It's different, but it's actually probably like the best metal band I could be in, because there's so much like swagger still in all the new Accept stuff, because I loved all the 80s, late 70s, early 80s metal, like Accept, Judas Priest. It all had like this rock and roll swagger in it, it's just like this toughness, and Accept still has that, and Priest still does too. And there's so much AC/DC in Accept, and that's why I think it's like, man, that's a really good fit for me in the group. And when I did the fill-in tour, the symphonic tour, everything went so well. Like on stage, and we all got along. Like we played well, and Wolf loved that I could do all the moves and stuff with him.
Dude, I love your metal workouts that you do. Those are fucking great, man.
He loves it. Me and Wolf joke a lot of times that we're bigger posers than we are actual real guitar players. But he loved the fact that I was into that, and I love doing it. I mean, I've done other Kiss stuff forever, so I'm like, I get.
Of course, man. If anybody's got good stage presence, it's Phil Shouse. So you grab the bull by the horn.
My first memory of Accept was this 2 flying V's moving in.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah.
And so it's really great. It definitely has made me hit the woodshed this year. And I'm playing, I'm playing leads on the new record, playing guitar on the new record, which is a trip.
Yeah.
And an honor. And, to be like, not like, well, my face is in the artwork, and like, oh, that's me playing a solo. There's Wolf. There's me. There's Wolf. And it's just a trip. And coming into a band like that, though, I'm on my own talk show, I had Richie Malone from Status Quo on, and he's, the young guy in the band, the young guitar player too. I asked him this question. I was like, how do you come in and be yourself, but still pay homage to the past?
Yeah.
Because he replaced Rick Parfitt, who passed away. And he's like, it's like, oh my God. It's like, is it natural, or is it a constant? You think about it. He's like, oh no, I think about it. He's like, I don't spread my feet too far apart. Because Rick was like wide stance.
Yeah.
He's like, I really concentrate. And I suppose I do too, but it is a balance trying to come into like a legacy act like Accept that has 40 years of history. Right?
Absolutely.
And 40 years of fans that have been there, and fans they've picked up along the way with every album every year. So I don't want to get up there and be like, who's this guy? Who does he think he is? I want to be respectful, but I also want to put, I think Richie Faulkner of Judas Priest has done about the best job you can do.
Fucking killer, man.
Of that. Like, he fits so well.
Yeah.
At the same time of being his own player and showman that he is, he pays tribute to the past, also the legacy of the band, which is what I try to do, and I will, when we start doing more shows and get back to playing again, I want to do that with Accept. I want to, of course, be me, but also like, well, I'm here, I'm in the band. I'm not like, hey, look at me, check this out. I'm here.
And Richie Faulkner is such a good example for that, because you have so many classic instances of guys coming into a band, and especially with a band like Judas Priest, it's kind of hard to find your spot in that band. And as far as Richie Faulkner goes, he might as well be in the fucking beginning. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's in that fucking well that it's crazy. And
yeah, you put it really well when you said find your spot.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Not literally find your spot, not literally on stage, but find your spot.
Well, that too, but.
That too. Yeah. Find your spot, find your place in the band, and see how it works. And it's very important. And it is kind of a constant thing that's on your mind,
Yeah, and I think that's something that resonates really well with Judas Priest bands, is that Richie Faulkner is he's really respectful of everything in that band, but at the same time, he's found that perfect little pocket for him to fit into, to where it's just it fucking flows seamlessly. And Priest is still putting out as good of music as they ever have, just like Accept is. It's like it's great.
Yeah, Firepower was good, man. That was a good record. really
Yeah,
good.
all their
And,
shit that they've done in over the last decade is fantastic, man.
yeah.
It's
Well, like you said, like
Halford is still the god, man.
yeah, oh, incredible. And like since Mark joined the band, joined Accept, like Blood of the Nations came out. It's like that record's incredible.
Yeah,
And
you could argue that's one of Accept's best records, man.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think so. And everybody is really excited about this new one. Andy Sneap produced this one as well, like he has the past. And Andy Sneap,
nice.
who's in Judas Priest now.
Yeah, yeah.
And so everybody, including him, were all really proud of how this record came out and really excited to finally get it out. And even more excited to go play these songs.
Absolutely, man.
You know?
So were you involved in the songwriting process on this one?
No, but that was on me. Wolf, that was extended. He's like, man, if you got any riffs, dude, send them on. But I didn't have anything.
What an honor just to have that asked of you, though, man.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it was, and I'm totally fine. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna send him a voice memo of me on an electric unplugged guitar. You know, I didn't have anything that developed enough that I really wanted to share. I wasn't, I'm not like a prolific writer. I've been writing a lot. I've been writing more and have some things now. But no, I really didn't. Martin Motnick, the new bass player, had a couple things and threw some shit in there. It's great.
That's awesome, man.
It was just like, I didn't know until I'd heard it. It was like, man, that song's really cool. And it's like, oh yeah, Martin brought that in. I'm like, that sounds like it's 83.
That's awesome, man.
Really good.
So you gotta start working on some riffs for the next Accept record, man. That way you can get some shit on there.
I have some now, but yeah, it definitely was extended. That was on me.
Just like that has to be such an honor just to have it extended to you for that to be.
I'm not even really used to being on albums with the bands I play with, because being in the country thing in Nashville, the live band is it's like
never. And it's always been that way. Good, dating back to way back in the day, man. Those are guys who their whole career is spent in those studios in Nashville. And there's nothing wrong with how they do that, how the whole format of when you go into the studio, this is the band, and when you go, it's live. It's because those guys that spend their career in the studios are some of the best fucking musicians ever, man. I couldn't hold a fucking candle to those guys.
I've watched those sessions happen, like master sessions with those guys. It's jaw-dropping. How
that makes you question what you've been doing for the last 20 years.
Man, in 2 takes, playing like a song that's like record quality, like in front of you, like how? And then going, oh yeah, I missed that 2 minor in that 2345. Let me go back and going and cutting these things, and it's amazing. But I'm not used to put on the record. I'm not used to getting like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this. So just the fact that it was like, hey, because I asked, I didn't know. I was like, am I gonna be on the record? Wolf's like, well, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't know it was gonna be cool if I wasn't.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I wasn't expecting a yes. But yeah, it's like it's a band, and it really is. And we were all in there. We were all over there for backing vocals and helping out and throwing in ideas for backing vocal arrangements and things. It's a group, man. It was really fun.
That's fantastic. And that was one thing I noticed when all the promos started coming out for the new album and the new single were the band shots. I was like, hey, that's Phil right there, man. He's in the shot.
I do that. Hey, that's Phil.
That's great. And speaking of getting to play on the records of the guys that you play with, I've got the Space Trucking picture disc behind me, as well as Origins Volume 2. Talk to me a little bit about what the experience of was, not let alone getting on the Ace Frehley record, but getting to fucking recut She, which is like, for us Kiss guys, that's like one of the fucking go-to songs, man. So talk to me about what that was like for you.
Just like, the records come out again, because I know with Ace was in, I think he was in LA or San Diego when he cut this record. He was living on the West Coast. And Ace plays bass on most of his songs, and he always has. He's a good bass player. So I was like, didn't expect anything, and then it's getting the record's getting recorded, and Ace I think calls Ryan, and it's like, you think you guys could do She? We're like, yeah, I guess we can learn she. But we just added that to the set with Ace, and it was going over well. And it's 3-part vocals, so Jeremy, Ryan, and I sang it, live. And so he wanted to do it like we did it live, and yeah, it was awesome.
That's fucking great.
Do that.
And it's funny because, man, I think it wasn't long after I came and saw you guys in Whitesburg, which was the first time I got to meet you. For anybody that's listening, Ace Frehley's band played in Whitesburg, Kentucky, which when I saw that pop up on the tour list, I was like, Whitesburg, Kentucky. I was like, is that like a fucking misprint or something? Because if you're from Kentucky, it's no disrespect to Whitesburg, but it's literally kind of like the middle of fucking nowhere. And to see a guy like Ace go in there was a little odd. So I immediately messaged Jeremy, was like, I will be at that Whitesburg, Kentucky show. And what a crazy night with the fucking weather. It was like, as soon as that opening band started hitting their first note, just fucking lightning and thunder everywhere. And it wasn't.
That was our friends Chuck Smith.
Yeah.
That's the part. So that was those guys.
Who scored an opening slot on the entire fucking Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Joan Jett, Poison tour, which is congratulations to them. To be thrown onto such a legendary bill like that is no small feat. Which actually, Jeremy told me that was going to be their first gig, I think, was that. That is.
That's right. That was.
That is fantastic. So that's where me and you got to meet. And what a crazy night that was. So, man, I've already kind of lost my train of thought on where the fuck I was going with that.
We did play. The rain stopped, and we actually did. That's correct.
Yeah, it wasn't literally until about like 5 minutes before you guys were supposed to play that I was literally standing backstage with Jeremy, and somebody comes up to him and is like, all right, get ready. And he was like, I guess I gotta go, man. And went up there. And this is what I was leading to, actually. I remember now. So after that show, me and him were talking a couple of days later, and I was like, dude, what would be really fucking badass if you guys added She into the set list and did the fucking live outro on that. So then when I get to hear the fucking record where you guys added that, I was just like, as a fan, I was like, I asked for that as a fan, and they fucking delivered. It's fucking great getting to hear shit like that.
I like the fact that we did the key change to
both,
E, and then we did the live ending.
Because there is no,
it's so heavy.
There's no other version like the version that you guys did. It's either the album version where it drops down and then fades out, or it's the live version with after that last chorus, the and then into the riff. So it was fucking cool to hear you guys mesh those two versions because nobody had ever done it like that before.
Yeah, it was cool. We were glad that that when we recorded it, that's the way we were going to do it. Like, okay, cool. We because it's a cool arrangement. The E part's so heavy.
Yeah.
Especially because we're tuned down a whole step, so we're playing it in D. It's just like,
which I didn't know until last night when I was talking to Jeremy, because we were talking about Anomaly got brought up, and I was like, I would love for Outer Space to get thrown into the set list. And that's when Jeremy mentioned that you guys were already tuned down a whole step, and then I was like, oh shit, that would be low as fuck going down to drop C.
Yeah.
So kind of segueing off that a little bit, if you could throw one song into Ace's set that you guys don't do, what would it be?
An Ace, like an Ace song, or like anything?
Well, a song that would fit well into an Ace set. Like, obviously, you're not going to do like Almost Human, I would assume, which would still be cool because Ace has fucking cool leads on that. That was actually a terrible example. I don't know why the fuck I said that. But
wow, man, good.
You're on the fucking spot.
I probably would pick one off the solo record, probably 78 record, because we did the whole thing, and I was really wanting us to keep doing that whole thing.
Yeah.
Probably, man, I love playing In Need of Love.
Yeah, that whole record's fucking great though, man.
That one.
I thought it was.
I have two actually. In Need of Love and Escape from the Island.
That's fantastic.
I love to play Escape from the Island.
Yeah, and I think Matt Starr mentioned that whenever we did the Rock and Roll Over episode, that he was like, I've even mentioned that to Ace about maybe as like walk on music or walk off music, and
But it's a vocal break for Ace. It's just like nobody sings. It's an instrumental, and the fans would lose their minds if we went into dun 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 dun. It'd be great.
And
Keep working on it.
Jeremy talks about it, and you guys have talked about it before. Ace is kind of a creature of habit when it comes to the set list. But since you guys have joined the band, there's been actually a decent amount of instances where you guys have played some deep cut shit. So I feel like it kind of falsely gets thrown into that sometimes when people talk about Ace's set, because Jeremy mentioned it last night. You guys did like 4 songs off of Spaceman when that came out, which is a lot for an act like Ace. And then you watch videos from the cruises where you guys are doing like fucking Dark Light and Torpedo Girl. And oh man, talking about Ace being a good bass player, fucking Torpedo Girl, go listen to that. That's a fucking killer bass line.
That bass line is so good that Gene learned that, and Gene would play that with us. Like, Gene would start playing Torpedo Girl. Like, how do you know that?
That is fucking awesome. Wait, that's even crazier because he doesn't really seem to know very much about that span of Kiss.
yeah. But he doesn't. Well, the thing about, and going back to the set list, people saw what we did with Gene, and different set every night. Now that depended on Gene being willing to go, sure, whatever. We'd love to do that with Ace, but Ace is not like that. And there's nothing wrong with not being that way at all. But fans expected the same exact thing. They thought it was all us. It's like, well, it ain't all us. We can push, we can influence, but we're not given like carte blanche. It's not like we're running the show now, sit in the back.
But like I said, there's been plenty of instances like doing the 78 solo album and songs off of his new record and the Kiss Cruise stuff where he's dove a little deeper than sometimes he normally would have. So
and he knows that we can learn anything.
Yeah.
So he knows it's like whatever I want to do, these guys can do it in 10 minutes. So,
and at the Whitesburg show, that was the first night that you guys, since you had been in the band, had played Watching You, which when you guys fucking started that, I was like front row, so I was losing my fucking gourd whenever that riff kicked in. And then talking to Jeremy after the show backstage, I was like, dude, Watching You, that was like the highlight of the fucking set. And he's like, that wasn't even in the set until Ace showed up and was like, hey, can you guys do Watching You? And Jeremy was like, can we do Watching You?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we can. Ace, we'd be happy by Watching You.
Yeah, that's fucking great.
We love to do different tunes, and we're always pushing different stuff in there. So we keep trying.
I love the story about how you guys were trying to get Got to Choose thrown into the Ace set. How you played at soundcheck and and then
we were trying. Because that was what we did with Gene. If we had a song we wanted to add in the set list, we would play it at soundcheck right as he was getting in the building.
Yeah.
So he'd walk on stage and get his bass on and play, and be like, "Do you guys like that one?" It's like, "Oh, we love that one. Would you like to play it?" "Oh, we love to play it." And then so that's how we get tunes in. We'd have this Jedi mind trick. We'd do that with him. So
this is the song in the set you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would love for Ace to play Got to Choose in a set. Not only is that my favorite Kiss song personally, that Ace solo is fucking great. That's one of my favorite Ace solos, man.
That might be my favorite Ace solo. As simple as it is, as basic, it's perfect.
It's structured really weird too, because it's like, those DCG progressions can get a little complicated sometimes. As simple as that progression is, the soloing over stuff like that can be a little weird sometimes. So it's a very well crafted solo.
It's so good. It's so not flashy at all. And the way he plays both D major and D minor.
Yeah.
Same, like, really, he does them both like right, he does the major right when it needs to be, and the minor right when it needs to be, right in the right place. And he's like, Young and Frampton do that also great, and Ace switches back and forth. It's perfect. It's a great solo.
Yeah,
He's like, I like that song.
That's great. So I mean, you guys get to do a lot of cool shit with him in the set as it is, but it's I'm hoping as a fan that Got to Choose makes it in there one day. So
I escaped from the aisle to go in before Got to Choose goes in.
Okay. Well, either way,
not from me, just from Ace's perspective.
Yeah, either way, I'll be a fucking happy camper. So let's talk about playing with Gene for a minute. I know you guys have told the story about how that happened and everything. Brian getting asked by Doc to put together a band it was originally just a show. So I won't make you retell that whole fucking story because I'm sure you've told it on almost every podcast you've been on an interview. So I would like to talk about some of the experiences you had on that tour. You guys had a really awesome experience in Bolivia, if I'm not mistaken. So tell everybody about that real quick, if you can.
So with Gene, the way we toured was the 5 of us. We had no crew. We had no anybody. So we were with him all the time. Just, unbelievable to be like traveling and just like in constant contact with Gene Simmons.
Yeah.
It was. So we were all on the same flight. Coming in, landing in La Paz, Bolivia, which is the highest elevated airport in the world. And the minute you get off the plane with a guitar bag on your back, you realize that you're in the highest elevated airport in the world. And you can't breathe.
Yeah.
And so we're walking through, and we already knew there were people waiting because this was the first time anybody from Kiss had set foot in Bolivia to play.
Oh, wow.
I had no idea that there was somewhere Kiss hadn't played.
Yeah, that's
so nobody
crazy.
Been there. So Gene was the first one, and South American fans are like craziest in the best possible way. They're amazing.
I get jealous watching any videos of anybody playing down there, man.
They're just wonderful. They're so passionate, and they're
bounce.
They're singing. Oh, so great, and they were so nice to us. So we get off the plane, and we finally get through customs and everything, and walk out, and there's like 500 or 600 people just standing there, like pictures and signing stuff. And then, Gene, this is a big deal. And it wasn't lost on Gene either for these people. So Gene was signing more than I've ever seen him sign at an airport like this. So we're all walking through there. And first, I've never happened to me like that before. I mean, they weren't there to see me, but being part of something like that's still pretty exciting,
Yeah, that's like some fucking Beatlemania type shit.
But they were really, really, really great. The South American fans. If anybody's watching South America, hola. And that's the extent of my Spanish. And,
a cerveza.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was really great. That was a special time. And there were so many things. The special times with Gene were off stage, like in an airport lounge.
Yeah.
When you're just sitting there, or if we're at breakfast at the hotel in the morning. Like,
that's great.
We ate together. We'd meet for breakfast in the morning. We would eat catering at the show together. If we were off, we'd have dinner together somewhere. I mean, we were with him so much, and we'd ride from the venue to the hotel and to the, just so many things like that were just like, this is nuts.
It's awesome hearing stories like that about Gene, because Gene always gets a fucking bad rap, as you know, is like being this uptight, emotionless guy to people that aren't as inserted into the Kiss world. And then you hear stories like that where Gene really enjoys being just one of the guys in the band. And
he really did. He did. He liked the camaraderie. I remember this one instance, we were riding this pretty rundown shuttle bus. I think we were doing a casino gig in the north Midwest, Wisconsin or Minnesota. And we were, it's a pretty rundown shuttle bus. And we're riding to, I think, the airport or something together. And Gene goes, "Oh man, this is great. This is just like us in the early days." And Ryan leads forward and goes, "Can we fast forward to Japan about 77?"
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
But yeah, we there were so many times. He was just so fun. If you ever had to go to his hotel room for anything, like knock on the door, he pulled this prank on me, and he got me every time with it. So you'd knock, the door would open, and there'd be nobody standing there, like at eye level. But then he would pop out from the side, like he'd be crouching, like hiding like that, and he'd pop out, and he would do the eye thing, the rolling eye like that. He does real well.
Yeah.
He'd jump out and go, ah, and he'd be scared. He'd go, I got you, didn't I? I got you. But he would just, he put stuff in your drink, and he was just a prankster. And it was
put stuff in your drink? What? No, I'm just.
He put like Tabasco sauce. Like he would like, he got a cup of coffee. He'd empty a salt shaker into it, like he's 11.
That's fucking awesome. Holy shit.
Yeah, he got Jeremy with that so many times. He got Ryan. He ruined Ryan's steak one time. He was great, man. We had so much fun with him, and it was like just an incredible 2 years. Just
you see, it's awesome hearing stories like this. Not let alone because just being a huge Kiss fan and getting that kind of, getting to hear personal parts about Gene's day. But I talked about this the other day with, I think, Neil Davis when I had him on, where, Gene has done these interviews here recently talking about the end of the road tour. And he's like, well, when it's over, I'll be like 73, 74. And I think it's time to get off the stage at that point in my career. But then you hear these stories about how he just fucking loves being in a band and just playing music and just being one of the guys. And that's when I hear him say shit like that. And I'm like, no, Gene, from how much you love music and just doing this whole damn thing, there's no way you stop doing that. And for your guys' sake and as a fan's sake, I really fucking hope after the Kiss tour is done that he goes back and does some more of these solo shows. I didn't ever get to see Gene on the solo tour. So I've got to make it to one of those Gene Simmons solo shows.
Who knows? He may be talking about it's too old to wear, 8-inch heels and a 30-pound demon costume. Wearing that same black Western shirt with roses on it that he always wears. Maybe it's easier to put on.
That's fucking great.
Those guys, all of our guys are getting up there, man.
It's unfortunate, but that's it. It's bad, but if there's silver lining to it, it kind of makes you appreciate that you can still go see these guys doing what they do at this point in their career. Because when you're a kid growing up and you think of somebody in their 70s, you're thinking of somebody with a fucking walker like your grandparents, sitting in that recliner 20 hours a day watching TV, and and then you have guys like take Paul Stanley, for instance. I know he's not 70 yet. He's fucking close. But Paul Stanley's probably in better fucking shape than he's in better shape than I am, and I'm almost 50 years younger than him.
It's incredible when you see guys like him, Steven Tyler.
Yeah, Steven Tyler still to this day can probably sing anybody under a table, which is,
and his energy level still is the same. Mick Jagger. I mean, all those guys. It's just insane thinking about the guys that are still doing it. Like
Todd talked about that with Steven Tyler when I had him on last week, because when Aerosmith was recording Get a Grip, he was in the same studio with Age of Electric. And so he would talk about how Steven Tyler would just burst into the room, and he's always full Steven Tyler mode. He's just like, running in like, hey, you guys got a tambourine and stuff like that. So it's for me, Steven Tyler is my favorite rock singer of all time. And a lot of that has to do with how well his voice is aged, man. The dude's in his 70s, and I genuinely mean it when he could probably still sing most people under a fucking table.
It's such a thing with singers like that, because guitar players can still play well when they get older.
Yeah.
The voice is a totally different thing. And there's like a handful of guys that still sound like that. Derek is on there, St. Holmes. Tyler's on there. Xander's on there. Frank Domino from Angel's on there. Frank sounds, if you go see Angel, it sounds just like Angel. And I think Bruce Dickinson's on there. Dickinson sounds incredible too.
Him and Halford both, man, talk about taking very well care of your voice. Yeah. And it's those guys, just musical side alone from their repertoire, you have to give them kudos for how well they have taken care of their bodies up to this point in their career. And I think you have to throw Gene in there as well, because his voice is still fucking fantastic.
It really sounds good, and it's like a lot of guys that did take extra great care of their voice and body. Still, it just doesn't happen. You know, it's like I'm not saying a lot, but like my range is not what it was 5 years ago.
Hey man, Father Time is a very real thing.
You know, it's like, and you can take as good a care of it as you want. I'm sure a lot of the guys have, and it just didn't happen. And there's nothing you can do. Is it like, that guy sucks? And it's like, no, he's 65.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want from the guy? Jesus Christ. Loosen up. Sammy Hagar. God.
Sammy Hagar. Fuck, dude.
It's like 72, 73. He still sings his ass off.
Yeah, he still sings as well as he did back in the day, man.
It's incredible. It's just one of those things. If it's genes or I don't know. I don't get it.
It's man, just luck, kind of, and it's not necessarily luck because those guys do take, especially Dickinson takes fucking really good care of his voice, but you do kind of have. There definitely is the bad luck with those guys who still take really good care of their voice, and it doesn't happen for them, and it's unfortunate. But you know, regardless, because you get guys like that who are on the opposite end of the spectrum who still might not sound as well, and they take a lot of shit online. And you know, but I'm at the fan point where it's like I'm glad I can still go watch these guys play. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Because in 10, 20 years, will we be able to go see the fucking Rolling Stones? Will we be able to go see Aerosmith or something like that? So, it's, you know, I'm glad that these bands still exist in some capacity and we can go and you know.
If it's not all the same people, it's like, you know what, whatever. I'm not, of course, well, obviously I don't care. I'd hate myself.
Yeah.
But no,
except for Aerosmith, fuck, it's still the same 5 guys.
No, them is ZZ Top.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, man.
But yeah, I mean, even the guys, you know, Wolf 60 and Mark's, you know, those guys have taken exceptional care of themselves. Like, Wolf outworks me, outplays me, out-exercises me, and he's 15 years my senior. And it's like, okay, I got to step up now. It makes me want to be better. It's like, it makes me, he's been a big inspiration in like me wanting to be better and look my best and play my best because I got to play next to that guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Of course. And so I kind of like asking some of these fun personal questions on here because, you know, I stay away from the drama. I stay away from all that bullshit. Some guys still go there anyway, which is kind of exciting. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, some guys will just take the conversation there anyway, which is sometimes it's fucking awesome when they do. But I don't purposely ask shit like that. To me, this is just 2 guys hanging out, having a good time, you know, just talking about fucking music. So I like asking some of these fun personal questions. And I told you there's going to be some repeat questions from Jeremy, and I'm sure tomorrow when I talk to Ryan, I'll ask him some of the same questions as well. But so I asked Jeremy this last night, give me your 3 favorite songs that you got to do with Gene Simmons in the solo band, because you guys did 76 fucking different songs on that tour. So I know that's a wide range to select from, but don't think about it too much. The first 3 favorite songs that come to your mind on this.
Love Theme from Kiss.
Great.
Is one of those. Got Love for Sale. And Charisma.
Charisma. Yeah, dude. Yeah. I fucking love watching you guys play that. And
Charisma absolutely killed every night, man. That one was awesome.
I think me and you touched on this on the Rock and Roll Over episode a little bit because somebody had mentioned about Gene making them uncomfortable, and when you guys do the Charisma and Gene fucking and you know, Ace talks about this as well as one of the reasons wanting to hire you guys was the background vocals sound fucking fantastic, and Got Love for Sale. That was one, as a fan watching those videos, you guys fucking kill those. And I've talked to you about this before off air plenty, that Got Love for Sale, one of my favorite parts of that song is the shadowing oh no's right before the chorus. And you guys did that perfectly, man.
That's hard, man. That's a weird thing to get that right. Oh no. Oh, because
and then the second and third time they added in twice at the end. So
yeah,
you gotta be you gotta be fucking counting when that's happening.
That was Gene. Gene always put, if you listen to all Gene's songs, Gene had very interesting arrangements when it came to backing vocals and other things coming in and out. His solo record, 78, has got it all over it. Listen to it again for production.
Yeah.
But kids, if you're watching this, sing along your instrument. You'll always get the gig. I guarantee it.
Yeah, everybody loves somebody that can sing background vocals or hit harmonies. That's
one of our things, man. As far as we definitely have the stage thing down. We were all playing guitar at that point, so when we already knew what guitar-wise, and at this point we already kind of know who's going to go for what vocal part. But we'll get together before. Obviously, we're going to get together for this stuff next week and go over the stuff and make sure. But that's one of our things too. It's like, well, those guys play and they look great, and it's like, well, have you heard them sing? It's like, they got 3 lead singers, and then at the time, when we got Fitz in the band, we had 4 singers plus Gene, 5 singers in the band.
And now you got Matt Starr with Ace who sings as well.
And now we saw the same deal. 5. Matt's an incredible singer.
Yeah,
Matt's incredible.
Yeah, I've seen the videos of him doing Love Gun, and I'll tell you a super cool video I found the other day, which I had never seen before. I found this literally last week sometime. I think it was one of the expos where you guys played without Ace, and it was you 3 and Matt. And you guys did fucking Is That You? And Matt sang it. And I was like, what a fucking cool gem to pull out, man. That is great.
Yeah, we did that. That's right. Yeah, he killed it. Matt's a great singer, man. Super high range. Really clear, too. Not not throaty or raspy. Super high.
Yeah, and just an all-around well-rounded musician, I'm a little biased because he's in the Minefield camp, and he's a fantastic drummer. He produces as well. He's got that successful mindset, man. He's going to succeed at what he does, and he
goes after it all the time.
It's fucking
cool
killer.
When you have guys. It's great when you have a band like that. It's like, well, you can just divide stuff up easier. It's just like, oh, great. Well, you sing this, you sing this, you sing. Great, we got it done.
You guys are all friends, so there's no egos where you're like, I want this spot so I can shine during the set. It's like, no, you guys aren't shy about letting people know that you are as big of Kiss fans as the people that show up to these gigs. So
that was, I think that was the first thing that Gene, the Gene solo, the Kiss fans saw us from the Gene solo band. They were like, okay, those guys are huge fans. Because it was like, the first thing when we started playing the obscure tunes, it started playing them as well as we were playing them.
Yeah.
It was obviously like, oh, those guys are fans. And then when we started doing interviews and such, and it was like, oh, those guys have grown up their whole life loving Kiss.
Yeah, so, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. I can't think of a band. Well, McCartney would be the only thing I'm more trained for, probably.
That's great. One song as well that I have to give an honorable mention to that you guys did in Gene's band is I, Off the Elder. You guys fucking killed that as well. And as much as it's really cool because as much as the band really, especially Paul, fucking likes to pretend that album never happened and never has really nice things to say about it. It was really cool seeing Gene embrace it to the point where that was kind of a regular in your guys' set list, if I'm not mistaken.
It sure was. Once it was in, it stayed. We actually did World Without Heroes a few times too.
Which is a fucking very well written song, and of course,
you thought it sounded like the Eagles the way we did it because we did those were all harmonized guitar parts. Yeah. And I kind of did the arrangement. I sent a demo around. And he goes, I like it. Sounds a bit like the Eagle. I think it was like Witchy Woman, if he might have thought it sounded like that. That was I like doing that one, but once I stayed in, man, it stayed. People loved it. And, the fans that were going to those shows wanted to hear those kind of tunes. And he knew it, we knew it, so he was cool with trying any of those kind of songs.
Yeah, and like you said, of course you're still doing Shout It Out Loud and War Machine, but you guys had such a well-balanced set, man, of just, because like you said, there was 70 plus songs you guys did. Gene was not fucking afraid to do any of that shit. I think Jeremy said that there was only 2 or 3 songs that ever got vetoed, Rockin' in the USA and Larger Than Life. And
Love 'Em, Leave 'Em.
Yeah, Jeremy said he carried around that lyric sheet for the entire tour.
We actually did Rockin' in the USA, verse and a chorus of it at a gig in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay.
We had we met a dear friend of ours now that we met at the show. We started it because there was a tour, there was a period of shows that we'd just start doing stuff. He'd call to the audience and then somebody would go, Unholy. We'd play Unholy for a little bit, or whatever. They'd yell other stuff. Fits Like a Glove. And we started playing that one.
Yeah, dude, it was great seeing Gene do Fits Like a Glove. I know that you guys traded the verses off on that, but
which was his idea. That was his idea.
Well, I mean, I can imagine why. That's fucking probably the highest Gene ever fucking sang on a record was Fits Like a Glove. Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would be higher in his register than that song.
Yeah, it's really
it was just awesome. And like you said, I think what resonated with a lot of the fans was that you guys were such big fucking fans. It wasn't just, Gene hiring a select group of individuals to go out there and collect their paycheck from that.
Yeah. And he asked Ryan and like, he didn't know who we were. He didn't I saw some things like he's handpicked these guys. I'm like, no, he didn't know who we were at all. He knew Ryan knew rock players that could learn stuff like that, working on for hire guys.
So had you met Gene before the first rehearsal?
No. I met him in 2006 when I was on tour, but that was like I shared a bill with him and met him, but it was, no, not at all. So before the first rehearsal, no, he comes in by himself, and comes in and does a crazy dance and immediately we're at ease. And then so we start, so we're rehearsing and we're rehearsing for this private gig we were doing. It was like a corporate thing. So it wasn't a lot of deep cut Kiss songs. We played the big hits. We played a lot of R&B stuff. We were practicing Otis Redding stuff and Wilson Pickett stuff, Roy Head, and things like that. And we started playing some stuff. And, we're trying to work out these Motown songs with horns and stuff. So we're we're working on the arrangements. And we're working on them together. Gene really hadn't thought about how we wanted to do them. So he was like, how should we end this? How should we end this? So we had all kind of thought about how we wanted to do them. And so he was very okay, that's good. Well, we'll do that way. And then there's this one song that he wanted that he told us about, and we'd never heard it. And then it was a Roy Head song. Okay. Treat It Right, same song. So he plays it on his phone. We all kind of gather around, and he's like, oh, this guy's great. James Brown kicked him off the tour because he was so good. So we gather on his phone, listen to it, and we listen to it, and it's like, you want to do it? He goes, what? We go, you want to play it now? He goes, really? It's like, yeah, let's play it now. So we played it right then. It was an old 1-4-5 blues song. It wasn't any big deal to us, and we kind of remember there was a little riff in there that we learned. It's okay, I could play that. And we played it through a couple times, and that I think really impressed him because he mentioned, he's like, wow, I couldn't believe nobody stopped and looked at your hands and went, I'm gonna have to work on this tomorrow. It's like, man, you're in Nashville, man. You've never worked here. Pulled something like that. You got to do it, That's so we could all do that. And he was really impressed by how quick we were and how easy we were to get along with it, how easy we worked.
That's great. So what was going through your mind leading up to that first rehearsal, man? I want to know what your mindset was going into the very first rehearsal with Gene Simmons.
I knew Gene the way everybody else did through the media. Man, it could have gone either way. I didn't know. It's like, this is going to be really cool or this is going to be terrible. I just didn't know. So I was nervous, very excited that we're going to get to do this. It was only 5 shows, though, at the beginning. It wasn't 2 years of international touring. That came out. It was only these 5 with these comic convention things, with Wizard World Comic Cons. And that was it.
And that's awesome.
And man, it was. I was nervous, but then it's a gig, and he was definitely the biggest guy I'd played for at the time, and still the biggest star I'd played for, and but I've been I knew enough to be cool and I'm pro, and I know not to lose my shit. Somebody comes out, oh my God, I already played with some. The residency kind of warmed me up to this because I already played with some, Rock and Roll Hall of Famers and stuff. So that kind of prepped me. But then when he came in and did the dance and stuff, and immediately started joking around and called Jeremy cute.
He called him a girl too, I think.
A girl, yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. And then when we started playing, he realized that because he never, we could play. He never heard us play or sing before.
Yeah.
And so when we started playing and singing and everything, he was like, "Oh, okay, this is gonna be this. These guys are good. They can play."
That's great. And
which was cool. Then seeing him kind of like go, "Okay, these guys are right." And then that's like awesome.
That's great. And who was playing drums at this first rehearsal?
That was Jared Pope. That was Jared, who's now with Tom Key. Jared was our residency guy. Yeah. Jared was our core. Jared is an absolute monster drummer.
Great drummer.
Great guy. Swings so hard that I almost fall down sometimes. I mean, the guy is killer. And Jared played the first one, and then he got the Tom Kiefer gig, I think, because the Gene thing was only going to be 5 shows.
Yeah.
And then after that, we got Polly Simmons in for a couple, who's on She with us.
Yeah.
Polly plays drums on the She record with us.
Yeah.
And then after that, Polly has a big gig here at Blackbird Studios. He's one of the managers of the big studio here, so he couldn't do a lot of traveling. It was really picking up at that point. So then we got Fitzy. Slash had gone back to Guns N' Roses. Fitzy was available. Paul knew Fitzy, hooked us up, and that's how that happened.
And he's a great drummer as well.
We had so much fun. I drank so much coffee with that guy. We had so much fun.
I was talking to Todd about this last week, but one of the awesome things about watching Fitz play drums is the man never stops keeping count, like ever. There's never a second in that set or any of his performances where he stops keeping count, whether it's on the hi-hat or I love seeing him stick the sticks above his head and still count like that. Yeah. It's fucking great. His timing has to be one of the best timing of any drummers ever.
So easy to play with and fun, and he's a great singer, and he's a keyboard player and a bass player.
Yeah, he plays bass and toque. So
he plays bass and toque, yeah.
And he's filled in for bass with Slash before. There was me and Todd talked about that because Todd had a fucking detached retina when they played it.
And Brent had that too.
Oh man, yeah, that's
not the same time, but Brent had the same thing. So Brent missed some shows recently too for the same thing that Todd had.
That just sounds like the most absolutely terrifying injury to have, and man.
You gotta lay down face down for like a week or so, or weeks or something. It was terrible.
Oh, that's.
It's serious.
I hope that never fucking happens.
I hope I never get that, and I never want kidney stones.
Oh yeah, that's like one of those other horror stories. Yeah, it's like giving fucking birth.
I remember my dad had it, and I'd heard him, the pain that he was experiencing, and hearing your dad going through pain like that.
Yeah.
I don't want whatever's going on.
Yeah, it literally sounds like somebody's fucking dying, man. Like they might as well be in a room getting beat with a hammer. Yeah. And bouncing off of what you said about Jared being a fucking fantastic drummer, you guys did that Black Sabbath live stream here about a month ago with you, Judd Fuller, and I'm sorry I don't know the singer's name.
Danilo Lopez.
Okay, but that was... if anybody ever needed proof that Jared and Judd fucking kick major ass, go watch that Black Sabbath live stream. It's like my comment on the video afterwards was, Judd Fuller is now my favorite bassist of all time.
Just kills it, man. They're so good. So I know Judd from Rodney Atkins. Judd was the Rodney Atkins bassist.
Okay.
We met friends, and we're dear friends now. And Judd was the core residency bass player too. So Jared was filling the 3 J's, Jeremy, Jared, and Judd. We're the core 4. But yeah, we did the Sabbath thing, and man, that's one of the Sabbath thing is like, if one of us can't do it, we don't do it. Because it's just like, well, it's like, we're not going to do it without any of those guys. Danilo's awesome. It's like Jared, it's like nobody swings like Bill Ward like Jared does. I mean, we're doing all the jazzy, swingy Black Sabbath big band jazz stuff because Jared plays just like
which
that
is all over
somehow.
that first
And
album.
then Judd, they're a jazz band.
Yeah.
You know, people always talk about the blues. I'm like, no, they're a fucking like big band swing band.
Yeah.
Fairies Wear Boots. It's all jazz. And that's what like Jared is rock, but he has that background too. He has the swing. It's like you cannot fuck with it.
And
It's
Judd
so
actually helped you write one of the tunes on the new Residency record, I think, as well.
Yep, Judd co-wrote "Don't Push Me,"
which is I fucking love that one. The pan guitars is just fucking awesome.
Yeah, Judd helped write. Judd wrote the lyrics to that one. Judd helped. We had help with all the lyrics on the songs.
The ZZ Top vibe is strong on that song.
Yeah, it was cool. So yeah, Judd did that, and Judd's probably one of the most incredible musicians I've ever known in my life or played with. The guy, great singer, great guitar player, great songwriter. Jeremy and I are in a project with him and his wife Dana called The Tummies. And it's like early Beatles, but it's
and I think I've seen posts here recently that you guys have a new record coming out.
The record is done. It's called 930 Girl. It sounds incredible. There's going to be vinyl pressed. I think February is the release date. I could be there.
Okay.
Early next year. So it's so good. Judd is just an amazing musician, and
I look forward to hearing that.
He's the kind of bass player I like that never plays the same bass line twice.
Yeah.
It's always the right one.
Yeah.
You know, it's like one of those walking guys. He just knows how to walk through chords, and it's just great to listen to him play and play with him.
That's fucking awesome. I look very much forward to hearing that record. So kind of segueing off the Beatles a little bit, show everybody that shirt you're wearing.
Yeah, well, this is my take on the Beatles. It's the Beagles. This is one of my own shirts from my company Mutt Merch, MUTTMERCH. Of course, they make great gifts. Bunch of new products and a new site coming soon. I've got to whip some people in shape, but that's going to be done rather quickly, hopefully soon. But yeah, we got a lot of great stuff. We got the Beagles, we got Bones and Noses.
Yeah, I saw that one. That one's fucking great. I got to get one of those.
Aerosniff is a favorite one of mine too. So check it out. We also make shirts for dogs as well. So go check it out, muttmerch.com. Free domestic shipping this month. So.
That's great. So how long have you been doing that? And talk to me a little bit about the decision to start your own clothing company, basically.
Man, it's been around for about 5 or 6 years. I think 14 was when it started. I was always attracted to musicians that did other stuff.
Well, being a Kiss fan, yeah, that's...
He's the king. Gene's the king of that. Gene was like the first guy that I kind of realized that did that. There may have been people before, but Gene was the first famous guy. Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull he's made millions on fisheries.
Yeah.
So guys like that, I kind of thought it was cool. And, they were doing it before everybody did it. Like, with the advent of social media, you can be your own PR person.
Yeah.
Right. So that helps out a lot. And the Mutt Merch idea came from my then wife and I. She had published a book on Penguin.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was about holistic dog health, and it was about a lot of stretching routines you could do for your dog. She was a energy worker, massage therapist. Like, she really knew anatomy inside and out. So the book is about, diet and things, but it's also stretches you can do on your dog because their arm moves the same way that mine does and yours does. So it got published, and we were trying to think of other dog stuff that we could do around it. With all the ideas that we had, the shirt Mutt Merch was the one that stuck. And we had a list of like all these names. We just start thinking of like, Tom Petney and the Heartbarkers. Write that one down, and all these different ones. So when we were getting divorced, the divorce was really civil. It was back in 2013. I said, do you still want to do this? We should try. So we started it, and I'm the sole owner of it now. And so yeah, trying to still slug away and make it happen. And I've also got a brand new line of products coming out too, for dog yoga lovers. It's called Namaste, Stay. So that's also coming out. I've also got Philip Shouse merch coming out too. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff happening. It's been a busy year for me, actually.
And don't some of the proceeds go to a certain foundation as well?
Yeah, right now we're working with a place to bark, and as soon as we make enough money to make an actual real contribution, my friend Bernie Berlin runs this shelter, and it's in northern Tennessee. It's called A Place to Bark, and she is one woman rescue machine. I don't know how she stays awake during the day. She's tireless in her efforts to save dogs and cats also. And she's got a great facility, and she does so much good. So I do as much as I can to promote her before I can actually, really help and throw money at her. But yeah, she's great. So we're definitely rescue-minded, pet adoption, forward and all things like that. So
that's awesome. And you see a lot of musicians actually are big animal lovers, so it's really awesome to see that you took it to the next level. I've got 2 cats, are both rescue kittens, so it's it's awesome hearing stories about other people. A lot
of cats don't wear clothes though.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine trying to hold my cat down and force a pair of pants on it or something.
More injuries are involved than putting a shirt on a dog, I think.
Yeah, that's where if I was trying to do that, the next gig, I'm wearing long sleeves for sure and probably gloves. So you don't want any of those shots of your arm just covered in scratches and shit like that.
Yeah. So like I said, right now we're just shirts. The new website is going to be up soon. So many new products going to come up along with the new designs. So everything's going to be under one house though, muttmerch.com. You can get everything Philip underneath there. So yeah.
That's great. And congratulations on all of that. It's so cool to see people take other routes, of success besides the music thing, like you mentioned. So kudos to you for all those awesome things you're doing.
Oh, well, man, I've always thought that. I've always known that, I'm not in any of the band. I'm not, a member getting royalties of any band that I'm in. So my job is going to be over someday. No matter what job I have, it's going to be over. Like every job I've had, it's ended. And one of these days, I'm not going to be able to go get another gig, and they're going to dry up. So I started thinking about that a long time ago. And merch was the first thing that I kind of did towards that. And I'm definitely not finished. I've got more ideas and working on some more things with people. This has been a really busy year for all of that stuff. Like I definitely didn't sit around and bitch about not being on the road. I looked at it as time to start other stuff because I live in this apartment by myself. I've got nobody in my way. The only person in my way is me. And once I can get me out of my way, I can really do a lot of things. So I just took all this time to work on that and to start the podcast talk show that I'm way behind on. I've got so many great shows in the can. I've got so many great interviews I got to edit. I'm gonna put them out. Everybody that I interviewed. So I did that, the merch idea, and I've got some other things that I'm so busy at the moment that I've got to kind of put them off to early next year to talk about. So yeah, I don't stop thinking about things and other ways to exploit myself.
That's great. And you mentioned your podcast. Tell everybody the name of that real quick.
It's called Shouse Rules.
It's fantastic. I fucking love it.
Thanks. I've only aired 3 so far, and I've got so many. My next one's going to be Joey Mullen from Badfinger.
Wow, nice.
Man, talk about a dream talking to that guy. He was so awesome. He's so great, and so many things I wanted to ask him and did ask him. But so it's an interview show. I've got 3 up on my YouTube channel, Shouse Rules. And but it's like a talk show. I do a monologue, and there's little skits and me acting alone.
Will It Pick Slide is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I've got some recurring skits. I've got some new ones. It's me like by myself making movies in front of my green screen in my apartment.
It's
fun.
great.
So I'm gonna keep on doing those. I hope to do more things like that as well. So yeah, I just I want to get out there as much as possible, doing as many things as I possibly can.
Spread your seed.
Absolutely.
And
probably too thin, but I don't care.
It's okay. It's okay, man.
Yeah.
But I love your show. I think you do an awesome job with it. I really loved the episode with Dragon from the helicopters. That was a fucking awesome episode. Getting to see that he's building his own furniture was fucking
He's another one. He's like, him, he has a beer, he's an artist, the furniture thing. That I kind of wanted to talk to him because he's like I want to be like him. Nurgle from Behemoth.
Yeah.
That guy is doing a CBD oil. He has a chain of spas in Poland. Behemoth is like the Kiss of death metal.
Yeah.
Merchandising. In a merchandising machine. He does so many things. Like the guys like that, Chris Jericho, like the guys that do so many things are who I kind of I'm looking up to now. Like, Chris Jericho, when I thought it was like, wow, he's a wrestler and he's the lead singer in a metal band. And now he's an author and he owns his own wrestling league and he has a podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what I want. Like, that's what I'm going after. Who knows if I'll get to be like this big success like that, but I want that much action around me.
You never know, man. It's well,
I wouldn't turn it away. It's like
you say if you could become a big success, likely, because obviously you've had a very fantastic career when you put it all into perspective. Because not only did you get a gig with one of the guys from Kiss, you got 2 gigs with the guys from fucking the original Kiss lineup. That's fucking crazy. That is,
it's funny. It's all perspective, because in my eyes, it's like I haven't done anything yet. It's weird how like from my point of view, it's like people are like, "Oh, is your bucket list done?" It's like, "Are you kidding me?" It's like, no way. I'm not. I want like all action, like stuff around me all the time. Different things too. It always keeps it exciting.
Yeah, and that seems to kind of be a universal mindset with really successful people, is that they just don't have that one stick. They are successful in every aspect of their life with everything they do, because there just seems to be this driving energy behind all of it.
Yeah, because it's the same energy that makes you want to do anything. The same energy, like success in one thing, the drive for it is going to be the same drive for success in another thing. And if you just apply that same drive to other things and have a knack for a few different things, and if you put in the work and the same effort and the same energy, and you can do many different things. It's even easier now with all this stuff.
Of course. So you talk about running your own merch line and doing stuff like that. So let's kind of jump on the opposite end of the spectrum, where you have some endorsements. You, Jeremy, Ryan, and myself now, we're all endorsed by Vintage Guitars. Talk to me about how that came to be for you.
I went to this guitar store in Nashville that my buddy runs, Shane. It's called British Audio. And there was this black, it was a black Stratocaster shape guitar off the wall. Picked it up, didn't know the name of the headstock, played it, and I was like, this is better than my Fender. It had a nice black Strat. It was an American-made nice one. I was like, this is great. I kind of like looked at the price tag, like half-eyed, scared.
Yeah, and then you see it and you're like,
$350.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? I'm like, I gotta plug this in. The pickups have to suck in this, right?
Yeah.
So I plugged it in, and I'm playing it, and they're like, I know. And they told me the history of the guitar and who makes it, where it's from. It's like, well, I traded my Fender in for that guitar. And then so I got put in touch with Rick Taylor, who was a great guy. It's a British guy. It's a British guy. Yeah. Trev Wilkinson. It's under kind of the Fret King umbrella. Trev Wilkinson is a pickup
Yeah.
with a mad scientist. So Rick Taylor is the guy, their American rep. So I started talking to Rick, told him what we did and who I was. And I think I may have just gotten the Gene gig at that point. I think I did. And he goes, man, we really don't have anybody in America. I'd love to. And it's like, nobody in Nashville. Nobody knew him. I just happened upon this great guitar. And it was so affordable. It was cheap, but it didn't play or feel cheap. And so that was the V6. And he sent me V100, which, here, hang on. Here, I'll show you one of these.
This is great.
So that's what these look like.
Yeah, that's basically the one I've got as well.
Yeah, oh, awesome. So that's my 3 pickup, but he sent me a 2 pickup model, a Tobacco Sunburst one. And again, I couldn't believe how great the guitar played. The pickups were PAFs, and they're just the way I like them.
Yeah.
The knobs worked the way I wanted. I couldn't believe these guitars were that great. So then I turned Ryan and Jeremy on to him. I was like, you got to talk to this guy. And then Rick just started being our biggest fan and biggest supporter. And Kevin Easton.
Kevin as well, another great guy into the whole mix.
Kevin does all our guitars, and they all go to his Guitar Shackarama in
Texas.
In Texas. And yeah, I've got my basses that I play with Ace are vintage. And they make great stuff. And they've been the best supporters of us. And they're the greatest.
Kevin and Rick have both been super kind to me since I've joined the vintage team now as well. And I have to thank Jeremy for that, because my first time seeing one of the vintage guitars was when Jeremy got to go down to the Orange camp and demo the Brit head that they had, the guitars from Mastodon. And after that, I can't think of the guy's last name, which it's slipping me, but I'm fucking Mastodon, another great band.
Brent Hines.
Yeah, Brent Hines. Yeah. There's a brain fart real quick. But I saw that video, Jeremy demoing that head, and instantly messaged him after I saw the video, and I was like, dude, what fucking guitar were you playing during that? Because it wasn't an Epiphone or a Gibson. And he told me about it, and then that was like a year or so ago. And then when the whole Minefield thing started happening, I was like, hey, man, I'm thinking about ordering one of those vintage guitars. And he introduced me to Rick, and I ended up scoring an endorsement with them. And Rick Taylor, Kevin Easton, just 2 awesome guys who, you can tell that they love what they do, and they're not just in it for a specific reason. They take care of their artists very well.
Yeah, they're really great, and the instruments are great too. And I like playing a guitar on stage with the people that I played with, and then a kid can go to a store and buy that for $400.
Yeah, it's not like a certain company we know where it's literally a fucking buying a car.
30, $3,000. For a decent one. It's not like that. I like the fact that they are affordable and they're great. They're pro level.
That's always blown my mind, man. When you go look at the standards that are like 2,500 bare minimum, it's the crazy part. The crazy part to think about is their demographic is people like me and you. People like me and you, for the most part, I can't go drop $3,000 on a fucking guitar just when I feel like it, man. Yeah. So when you see a company like Vintage, where it's so fucking affordable, man, and like you said, you would think that from the price tag that there's got to be something wrong with it, man.
Right.
But no, it's like you can get a studio quality touring guitar for under $500 with these guys.
Yeah, and not change anything. The pots are great. Their PAF is my favorite.
Yeah, that's what I've got in mine. And those guys will fucking customize it to a fucking T, to whatever specs on it.
That 3 pickup, they didn't make a 3 pickup anything. And I was playing Vakken with my first thing with Accept in 2017, and they couldn't build me a V.
Yeah.
And I tried. They said no. I go, well, what am I gonna play? It's like, can you make me a 3 pickup V100, like a Black Beauty V100? They're like, yeah, We'll do that. So that was
That's
the first
great.
we picked up guitar.
That's awesome. That was whenever I told Jeremy that was the one that I was ordering. He's like, "Oh, that's basically Phil's guitar." He's like, "They made that guitar for Phil." So
Yeah, I was like, it's gonna be in a DVD. They're gonna put on. It's like, oh, we'll make it. They're like, yeah, sure, we'll do it. Like,
that's
cool.
great. So
I played ground level. I took that. That was our main guitar with. I played.
Uh-oh. Here we go. I mean, that's okay. We're getting the first. All right, cool. I was gonna say we made it really well. Fuck, we're at 2 hours now. 2 hours before the first fucking technical difficulties. So
I think that was me. I think I got a thing. Yeah.
You asshole.
Yeah.
We are now changing your screen name to Jeremy Asbro.
I'm down the hall. I'm down the hall from my modem, and it's like I live in the sticks. I'm like, I don't live in this. It's like, come on.
That's great.
I'm down the hall. Internet, come on.
That's okay though. We made it 2 hours before something like that happened. So that's the new record. So congratulations. Awesome. I'll send you your trophy in the mail. I've still got to get the picture disc out to you guys as well. I realized that I didn't have, normally from where I buy so many fucking records, I've got plenty of fucking things to ship them in. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Thanks for doing that, by the way. Thank you.
Dude, no problem, man. I looked like an asshole at the stores being like, I need this many copies. And it's like, so the funny story about all that is, the first place I went to, I stood in line that morning and I had my stepdad with me. So I was able to get 2 copies. Then I came back at 11 when they opened up to the general public and it was still 1 copy a person. So I grabbed 1 copy. And
but it's for these guys on the back.
Literally, that's what I said. And I said the same thing when Trouble Walking came out on the first record store day. I got Matt and Jeremy copies of that. And I was like, guys, I promise I'm not reselling these. I'm literally giving them to the guys that are fucking. Yeah. And so I had to go to another store in town, Pop's Resale, for anybody that's listening, a fucking fantastic store. CD Central was the first place. I'm lucky in Lexington. I've got some great fucking record stores here in town. But I went to the second one, Pop's Resale, and was like looking for that. And they were still kind of doing the one record per person. And I mentioned to them, I was like, hey, I just need 1 more copy. And they had like 3 or 4 more after that. So it's not like I was clearing them out. But I was like, these are literally going to the guys that are on this fucking picture disc song that this was made for. And so they let me get two copies of that there. So I'm super grateful for that. But, you know, it's the least I can do for my friends, for you guys. So I like doing stuff like that.
I really appreciate that, man. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, it'll only cost you $2,000. No.
Exactly. It costs All American Man a larger than life.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Yeah, because I was talking to both times I've talked to Ryan about the Kiss Expo and everything. The picture just also got brought up, and Ryan's like, "Dude, please let me pay you back for that." And I was like, you can pay me back by doing the 2 songs you're doing with us at the Kiss Expo. And he's just like, deal. All right.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah. And
you got a hard bargain, but okay.
Yeah, and so we'll kind of segue off of that a little bit. Christmas 2020, I know we talked about this in the first part, and I said we come back to it. But I will be performing with Kurt Frolick from Steve Riley's LA Guns that night, me, him, and Garrett Ramsden, who you got to meet in Louisville. From my GNR tribute, great drummer. And we have some awesome guys like Jeremy and Ryan and yourself and Neil who are going to be jamming with us. So I think you're actually kicking the show off with us. And Jeremy didn't know that we were doing full band now. And because originally it was just starting as me and Kurt doing an acoustic set. And then it kind of snowballed as this whole event has as a whole. And we added in the full band aspect, and we were like, I was like, well, we can get Garrett to play drums for us. And then now we've got you guys doing this, and it's, man, I'm very genuine in the fact that this might be the most excited I've ever been to play a show, and it's going to be. It's because some of my, I don't know about you, but some of the best moments I've ever had playing music are those kind of like jam type feels, and that's kind of what our set kind of has.
Oh yeah.
Is since we have so many guys coming up and guesting on bass with us.
I did one every Tuesday for 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm preaching to the choir. But Jeremy thought we were still doing the acoustic thing. So last night when I was talking to him, he was like, and when he found out we were doing the full band, he's like, "Oh, well, then I'm definitely fucking playing All American Man with you guys." And I was like, Absolutely, let's make it happen. So. Yeah, I'm very excited for this whole fucking expo. So you're actually going to be doing one of your podcast episodes there at the gig.
Yeah.
Tell everybody about that real quick.
I'm doing a live Shouse Rules for the first time. My guest is going to be Jean Beauvoir. So Jean's musical history is amazing, not just from the Kiss connection, but going back to New York with Wendy Williams and the Plasmatics. And he's done so many other things. And I can't wait to, I want to do a little bit of research, but I kind of want to learn from Jean himself what he has done and also what he's working on now, because he's a busy guy, and so that's going to be there. I think Jer and Ryan are doing a panel
with Keith.
With Keith LaRue's going to be there. Trying to think everything else. There's going to be so many cool things. We're doing an acoustic set as the Talisman on Friday. And there's a Led Zeppelin band playing.
Yeah.
And then we play with John full band. So we're doing some deep cuts. The whole thing's kind of based around deep cuts.
Of course.
So the Kiss tribute band, Kiss America, is wearing the Hotter Than Hell costumes, and they're doing deep cuts from the first 3 records.
And I've seen that set list. I'm fucking excited for that, man. And the Hotter Than Hell outfits are my favorite Kiss outfits. And that's by far my favorite Ace outfit is that Hotter Than Hell outfit. So I'm cool too. I'm super excited about seeing them. And if I'm not mistaken, their drummer is who's playing with you guys in your full band.
Yes, Ken Trapp. Ken Trapp. We're using their drummer Ken, and so we're doing that for all the full band plugged in shows. Then of course Bruce Kulick and Todd Kearns live streaming from Vegas. And then Rick Derringer with us live in person. So
yeah, and I don't know if we've mentioned it yet or not, but Mr. Eddie Trunk is going to be there hosting the entire fucking thing.
Is going to be down there hosting everything and making everything run. So
And what better person to have in that position than fucking Eddie Trunk, man? And I've seen a comment or two about online where Eddie's very open about his feelings on the current lineup of Kiss and all that. But that's kind of the beauty about these Kiss expos is they're not era specific. And even still with Eddie's, he's with the stuff that he said about Kiss now, he'll still be the first person to tell you that he's still one of the biggest Kiss fans ever. So,
Totally.
It's like people kind of paint too big of a picture with some of those comments that he's made, because Eddie will still admit that he's one of the biggest Kiss fans there is.
Totally. People pick stuff and they run with it. And you're not going to find a bigger Kiss fan or a music fan than Eddie. I mean, really, it's just.
When you think of rock journalists, it's Eddie Trunk's always one of the first people, if not the first person you think of in that.
He kind of, I don't know, he took DJ, he was a DJ, but then took it into like a other realm. And I think I think every music podcast kind of has part of him in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
a little bit of thanks to Eddie Trunk, because
we've all listened to his show a shit ton over the years. He's been doing it a long time. Before that, he was a A&R rep, I'm pretty sure. Maybe not an A&R, but he signed
Ace.
He also signed King's X as well. Which I love his story about that, because most people don't know Doug Pinnick was already like in his 30s whenever King's X put that first record out. And Eddie Trunk talks about sitting down at dinner with them before they sign them, and Doug Pinnick pulls out like all these pills at the dinner table and just starts fucking swallowing them. And Eddie Trunk's like, fuck, we've signed a fucking drug addict. And Doug Pennick's like, no, these are all vitamins and stuff like that. That's a fucking killer story. So, you know, Eddie's very good at what he does, and he's successful for a reason, and he's fucking friends with everybody. So
he's successful. He's as big as he is for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, because he's good at it and he cares about it. I mean, he's really I was talking with him on the phone about everything, you know, recently, and we're just chatting about it. And just like guy lives and breathes music and just cares about it. He's always been a big fan of us and a big friend to us as we met him on the Def Leppard cruise. And he's been great. He's just been so cool. So
I loved the live stream that happened the other night where Neil was having to hold his phone up. Had Eddie on video chat and was holding it up to the phone.
For some reason, he couldn't click onto the thing that we were using to go live. This thing called Be Live.
That's
and so
great.
It's like, all right, we're going guerrilla style. We're gonna make it happen. You know,
but it didn't miss a beat.
He was a good sport, and you know he's pro. He knows things don't work all the time.
Yeah, because a lot of guys would have just fucking hung up and been like, no, that is not happening.
He knows things don't work all the time, and yeah, we're really excited that he was doing it and said yes to it. So we're still.
Yeah, that's the whole thing is going to be great. And kind of to wrap things up here, everybody, if you're listening and you want to be somehow involved in the Christmas Expo, whether it's being there, I don't know, like you said, I don't know how many tickets are actually left. I know it was pretty close to sold out here recently.
Yeah,
so
there's not really many. I mean, there weren't many to begin with.
Yeah.
So I think probably only a few. But if you can't be there, you know, the live stream thing is the best deal, and it's available 48 hours after it completes. So
and it's only $12, which is fucking killer for the whole weekend, not each night. It's for you pay $12 and you get to watch both fucking nights, and it's going to be killer. So you can go to meethook.live to get your tickets, and then kissmas2020.com to get the whole lineup and all the information and everything. And I know I cannot fucking wait to get down to Sarasota, man.
It's going to be great. Just Florida, December in Florida is very nice. So
yeah, so I moved to Daytona Beach in high school, and it was Christmas Eve of 2009. And I got on the plane. I think I was in Johnson City is where I flew out of. And I get on the plane and it's like 20-some degrees and I'm fucking bundled up. And I get off the plane in fucking Orlando and it's like 82 at like 8 o'clock at night. And I'm just like stripping at the airport. Like, what kind of hell is this? Like,
I'll have my Birkenstocks on when the plane lands.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. So everybody, if you want to watch it or if you're in Florida and there's any tickets left, that's where you can get all your shit from. And Phil Shouse, I thank you so much for coming on and giving me some of your time. This is a super fun episode. Tomorrow night, I'm going to have Ryan Cook on. So if you're listening, tune back in and you'll hear these exact same stories from Ryan's perspective. Just kidding. But because Ryan's got his own world of awesome shit that's happened that we'll touch on between Hair of the Dog and just all that shit. So Phil, me and you'll say bye off air, but I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream. And thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Kissmas2020.com, meethook.live. That's where you need to go. See y'all tomorrow night.